I remember going to the hospital and they kept trying to get me to lay flat on the hospital bed. They were so adamant about me laying flat on the hospital bed. And I kept telling them, I cannot lay flat. I'm not going to be able to breathe. I kept saying that. And they were still lay flat, lay flat. As soon as I laid flat, I don't remember anything else. I went out. I don't know if, I don't even know what happened. All I know is it was the next day. And I remember when I went out for that time period, I had this dream, and I'm not sure if it was a dream. It may not have been. I was walking down this tunnel, and at the end of the tunnel was a bright light. And there was an angel at the end of the tunnel. And couldn't see the face, of course. And all I remember is I was walking down the tunnel, and then the angel at the end of the tunnel did this. And then I instantly woke up. And I was looking around the room like, how did I get in here? Because this is not where I was last night. And my parents explained to me what happened. And I think that scared them as well. And so from there, we had to go through the process all over again. I was back in the hospital for quite some time. I spent many holidays and things inside the hospital. Of course, my parents and family and friends tried to make it fun for me because I was in there for so long. But laying up in a bed is miserable. And of course, they would try to get me up to walk. But the problem is with me walking was the fluid would move. So I couldn't even go far. You know, they wanted to keep me active. So that way, my bones and all of that could still, strengthen and things like that. But it was so painful walking. And all of the nurses and doctors at Le Bonheur was fantastic. Now that I can say, they made my experience so much fun. And I remember the arts and craft lady used to come around, and I used to make prayer boxes for all of the nurses at the hospital. And the hospital decided to do a special on me. And I took a picture and things like that. And she wrote a small little article about my situation. And that made me feel good. Imagine you in a hospital day and day, and you're just watching the seasons change. You're watching all these things happen. And all of your siblings are in school, having fun with their friends, doing all these things. And you are stuck in the hospital bed, waiting for someone to come visit you. And, some days you get visitors and some days you don't, and so that was difficult. And then I was missing school also. I wasn't actively in school. So I was determined to get back in school because I wanted to graduate on time with the rest of my class. So the time to follow after me getting out of the hospital, I was able to, get into the homeschool program through the state and able to go back my senior year. But I don't think people realize that with lupus or any autoimmune disease, the struggle that we go through every day. People don't understand that. Getting out of bed in the morning can be a struggle. Doing simple tasks or chores can be a struggle. I see so many I call us lupus warriors because that's what we are. So many of us having to explain this to our spouses and our family and our friends and our jobs about what we are going through. And people think that, we're lazy, we're selfish, we don't care. It just gives off this thing where people are not compassionate and kind to us. And people assume that we're fine because people think that illnesses have a face. It's so many people I tell I have lupus and they say, you don't look like it. And then I proceed to ask, what does lupus look like? Lupus doesn't have a face. You may not see us in our struggles, but a lot of times we're struggling. We don't always voice our concerns because a lot of people don't care to understand them. And some people, they care, but they don't know what to do because they don't know what you're experiencing. It's been so many times where I have had to say things to people. Now, one thing I can say is my husband was always very, very supportive of everything I had going on. But he actually researched for himself to learn about lupus, to learn how to take care of me if need be. He did all of his research and he educated himself. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of spouses don't do that. A lot of family don't do that. A lot of friends don't do that. And they should. I think that because lupus is one of those things where we have good days, people assume that we're like that all the time. Or you all see us smiling and happy and up walking around and doing all these different things that we don't struggle. Or we may be in pain on the inside, but we're trying to not throw that burden on you because we know if we say something for a lot of people, it's not going to be received. And a lot of times people don't want to help you. And these are the struggles that we go through on a daily basis. And because lupus is stress-induced, we have to be mindful of the stressors in our life. And sometimes those families, those friends, our jobs, all those things are stressful. And it's not because they don't have to be stressful, but because they don't sit down, those same people don't sit down and try to understand us, it causes stress on us. And in return, we flare. We have a flare. And who knows what the flare is going to affect. Because lupus is one of those things where it can attack one organ one time. That may be your diagnosis for your first round, if you have a flare. And then you can flare again, and it's a totally different organ. It's a totally different diagnosis. See, that's the thing people don't understand. Lupus takes on many forms, and people assume that, lupus is just this one-dimensional thing. No, it's not.